But yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about usability and also talk about A/B split testing and how you can really put a system in place that will get better results for your business, and obviously stuff that you can take home today as well. So really kind of briefly about myself. I run a company called Catchy. We started about 3 years ago. We're New Zealand's leading website, in Australia now as well, a leading website conversion optimization specialist, and also do a lot of work in the UX usability space as well. A couple of years, my background is in digital marketing, but a couple of years ago I really started to focus more and more on the conversion side of things, because I saw massive results from not as much kind of driving the traffic. Once the traffic hits the website, how can we make sure that as much of that traffic turns into leads and sales? So you obviously, when you do your AdWords campaigns, you drive a lot of traffic to your website, but how do you make sure that that traffic really converts into sales, bookings, and leads? We developed a powerful 5-step system, which I'll share with you today as well. So it'll be a lot of takeaways. This is actually an extract from a half-day course I run with the Marketing Association. So I have to try to cram that into 43 minutes today. So if I go quickly, obviously see me at lunch as well and ask any questions you have. We're also the only 3-star Optimizely Solutions partner in and Visual Website Optimizer, which is VWO for short, premium partner in the world actually now. So that's kind of exciting. So hence also we kind of moved into Sydney recently as a destination. So I teach a lot with the Marketing Association, teach the Certificate of Digital Marketing in Auckland, and also run one here in Christchurch a couple of years ago. Do a lot of guest lecturing at Auckland University on digital marketing, but mainly conversion rate optimization, and really started specializing in CRO because just the fantastic results that you can have and increasing your return on investment. So last slide, just kind of the diversity of clients. So we're not just working in the tourism industry, we do have a lot of tourism clients, and I'll show you some tourism-specific case studies as well, but also have some really generic case studies. So I just wanted to show you some learnings from both. So actually ideas you can take away today and ideally implement into your own business as well. So conversion rate, just kind of a couple of basic slides. This might be kind of too basic for some of you and not for others, but just wanted to make sure that we kind of are all on the same base level when going into this presentation. So in the end, I'm a visual person. Although I'm not a designer, as you can see, this is hopelessly like PowerPoint stuff, but it's getting as many of those people on the left through any digital device, right? So it's laptop, desktop, and obviously tablets as well, going into over the finish line. And we want to increase that last bit. So we're not looking at the first bit, I'm not talking about that today, but really about that last bit, getting them over the finish line. And we often say that it's about creating a chain of yeses. So if you think about marketing, a lot of marketing is psychology as well. And just think about this for yourself. When you go to a website, or even before you go to a website, say for example, you're searching for a product, you might go to Google search, type in keyword, and up comes like kind of the search results. And most likely you look at you click on the first result first. And you'll have a certain assumption before clicking on that first link, before you go to a website. So your clients will have that as well. When they're looking for a certain trip or certain destination, and up come the results, and hopefully you're number one. You worked really hard on your search engine optimization. You rank number one, or you're doing an AdWords campaign, and before people click on that, they'll have a certain assumption. Now, I'll bring up this one. If you meet that assumption, that will, what we call that's the kind of a micro yes. So that's kind of the first yes in the process, right? In the way of thinking. So that might be something like it going to the right landing page, and landing page being set up correctly. Now then a next yes could be an easy adding something to a shopping cart, or booking, or finding booking dates. Then the next one can be it's easy to book, online, credit card details. There's a lot of trust in there and credibility. So we want to make sure that we create that chain of yeses. Now, with conversion rate optimization, you're always looking for what the weakest link is. So what's the weakest link in that process? Now, we talked about data this morning. So analyzing kind of what the weakest link is. A lot of that comes down to really knowing your data. You know, when you know your conversion funnel, where do people drop off in that funnel? What's the weakest link on your website? And that ideally you want to optimize for those weak links. So finding those weak links and optimizing for those. That's what we want to do. Now, how do you calculate conversion rate? And that's just a really simple calculation. So it's just about the total actions, and it can be any action, right? So it's not just sales or leads. It can be people filling in, downloading a certain white paper. It can be, emailing a quote. Any goals you've got basically set up, divided by unique visitors. Or if you use Google Analytics, it's users. Times 100. That's your conversion rate. Now, some examples here. Desired action might be a visitor purchasing a product. Obviously, 1,000 visitors, unique visitors a day. 20 of these purchase, conversion rate is 2%. Second one is white paper, 500 unique visitors a day, 25 take the action. Conversion rate for that is 5%. So really basic stuff, but it's vital to know. Absolutely crucial that you know that stuff. Now, I do get this question a lot. What's a good conversion rate? Anyone do know? What's a good conversion rate? Great to see so many hands go up. So good conversion, and that's probably the right answer as well. Like nobody really knows, and there is no such thing as a kind of like a ideal conversion rate. It's about kind of optimizing your own conversion rate. If you look at e-commerce websites, the average on like global shop.org, that's purely e-commerce. It's they do some stats, and that's 2.2%. But please forget about that straight away, because it is really kind of irrelevant in a way, and I'll tell you why. But if you look at New Zealand, and this is just New Zealand stats, it ranges from 0.4 to 4.3% on average, right? This is just still averages. Does anyone know why it's 0.4, why it's so low with electronics? Anyone bought some electronics lately? No? Okay, I'm the only gadget person around. So then just kind of look at this from this perspective. So if you buy electronics, most likely we end up going to Price Buy or Price Me, just looking at, where can we get the cheapest Samsung Galaxy S6 or iPhone, or whatever it is, appliance. And we brand loyal, might be, up to a certain level, but we're certainly not shop loyal anymore. Now, hence Noah Lehman got sold to the warehouse for next to nothing. And Dick Smith obviously almost went belly up and got sold to a private equity firm. But that's beside the point. It really is kind of, we don't really care where we buy stuff from an electronics point of view. So we can go anywhere. But specialty stores, and that's certainly also with destinations, it is quite different still, and that's a good thing, because we have an opportunity to really kind of build a brand, whether you're in a certain location, like Queenstown. Obviously, Queenstown in itself is a brand as well. But then kind of like liaising the service around that brand. So specialty stores, a lot higher conversion rate. Now, this is like a last one, and then I'll stop talking about good conversion rates. Top 10 converting websites, it's about 12% on average. Amazon, Pro Flowers, and Office Depot in the US. But really important to understand with those ones is that, first of all, Amazon, they are kind of world leading in e-commerce. They spend billions of dollars on online marketing, obviously optimizing that site as well. Also, it's a destination. Everybody knows Amazon. That's why we always get the question, why can't we get up to 12%? Well, you can, but everybody needs to know your brand. It needs to be like a destination. So people go to Amazon to buy something, not browse for something or not compare pricing. Same with Office Depot. We work a lot with Office Max. People obviously go to Office Max to buy something. You don't just browse there as a browsing channel as much. Now going into the usability side of things is, before we do that, this is really important from a AdWords kind of point of view mainly. Higher conversion rate equals higher visitor value. So what that means is that if you have say gross sales, and that's the value of your traffic. It doesn't just have to be sales, but say selling something online. Then the value of those transactions is $20,000 over a particular period of time. Say that's a month. You've got 5,000 unique visitors. Each visitor is worth $4 in that example. Now, if you optimize your website and you can increase with the same amount of visitors, you increase that sales by having a higher conversion rate, and obviously you can get it up to $30,000, your visitor value increases to $6. And why that's really important is that if you then look at like an AdWords campaign, that means that you can bid more for keywords, specific keywords leading to transactions, than, for example, your competitors, because you have a higher break-even point. So you could say, like, instead of spending $4 to break even on traffic, I can spend $6 and break even. Or instead of spending $4 and break even, I can spend $4 and make money. Those kind of things. So visitor value is absolutely critical to understand as well. Now, as I mentioned, this is an extract from a course. So I just wanted to talk you through a system. Again, this is PowerPoint one-on-one, so please do, not a designer. But it's 5 areas that we developed and we look at when we optimize any website. And this is kind of important for you to know, and you can do this for yourself as well, with actually the systems that you have in place currently, I assume. So status quo, that's step 1. And status quo is all about understanding your data. So it's knowing where people come from. Where people come from and how they convert, when they convert, what time of day, where do they drop off in the funnel, which pages do they visit, for how long, do they visit from mobile, from tablet, desktop, do they convert better on desktop, do they convert better on mobile, which browser do they use, which browser converts better. Now, all that, I mean, talking for hours about that stuff, but that's really kind of all the data, and that's, yes, it's a little bit nitty-gritty, but if you understand that, that's where you can find that kind of, when you look at the weakest links, that's where you can find those weak links and really optimize for those. Value proposition is about understanding that your value proposition, so what you're offering on your website, matches obviously your target audience. There's lots of examples about that. For example, it might be that so you basically really have to know that what you offer online is really easy to understand for people. So a lot of kind of clarity comes into play. I've got another slide about that as well. Structure is the structure of the website. So is it easy for people to navigate through? Now, can they easily find what they're looking for? Is it intuitive? And we'll talk more about usability, because there really are some basic fundamentals about website design as well, around structure mainly. It's like driving a car. You can make the car look like stunning. There's obviously lots of different brands and cars, but in New Zealand we've got our steering wheel on the right and our brake is on the left, gas is on the right. I think about that one. If you muck around with those things, you'll get horrible accidents. And the same applies for websites. If you really kind of do things that are those kind of don't not adhere to those basic principles, people just get confused. And you just lose them in an instant. Nobody's patient anymore. It's all like nanosecond stuff, you know. Certainly, kind of, if you're targeting at like a younger audience, they don't have time. They just want to instantly know what they're looking for and find that. Copy is about writing like really highly converting copy and using call to actions at the right point. Don't leave people wondering what the next step is. The next step is the next step in the funnel. It's adding something to a booking. It's looking for a date, and in the end, it's obviously making a booking, obviously. And engagement. So engagement is important from a point of view that say if your conversion rate is 4%, that means that 96% of people do not convert, say, on that first visit. So you want to make sure if you can capture some of that 96% with like a newsletter sounds really naff, and it's better things to do than newsletters, but getting them onto your database, so you got another opportunity to market to them at a later stage, that has a really, really big effect on your overall long-term or long-tail conversion rate. So when you look at usability and websites, always want to make sure we create traction. I mean, my background is marketing, so love acronyms, right? So this is building trust. If you are a big trustworthy brands. So, for example, work with Southern Cross. They have a lot of trust, so they don't really have to focus on that aspect of it. But a lot of smaller brands, trust is absolutely critical. Things around, what do you do with my credit card details? You know, if I sign up to this email, are you selling my details? Are you sharing it with anyone else? So really clarity around that. Be relevant. Make sure that it's relevant to your target audience. Still lots of examples of websites out there that start with a about us on the homepage, saying, you know, our board of directors love golfing, they've been around since 80, 67, whatever. That is really not relevant to your target audience. Nobody's waiting for that. And it's also important to know that kind of the WIIFM, what's in it for me, right? That acronym, another acronym, sorry about that. What's in it for me? That's what Vis is always thinking. Be appealing and engaging. Good website design used to be horrendously expensive, but now, you know, it is relatively, it's not easy, but it's definitely a lot more cost efficient to create a really good looking website. And there's no excuse to not have a good looking website. Not only that, from a business point of view, it's your window to the world. It's the first thing most people see. So you have to be appealing. And clarity. Clarity is absolutely key. So that's where most people struggle, is the clarity in the copy, the clarity of the offer. Now, what are you getting? How many nights are included? Now we work with Stray, for example. We've got an example about that as well. So where does the trip go to? Which kind of locations can I visit? What is hop on, hop off? You know, all those kind of things. Clarity. Now, lots of talk about mobile, but mobile user experience is gaining importance, even if you don't have a lot of bookings on mobile now. Why it's important is because it is certainly used as a browsing channel, but also more and more used as actually channel where people complete the bookings as well. So site has to be responsive, or at least have to have a mobile site, or it needs to be easy to navigate through and make the booking online, or at least find the information. The other thing from a optimization and also tracking point of view, I don't know if we touched on this morning, I haven't seen the whole presentation, but Google Universal Analytics, you can actually put a tag in place that you can see that somebody went from desktop to mobile and then converted on mobile, or vice versa. So you can really, again, dig into the data and find out, do people first go on mobile and use it as a browsing channel, and then did that same visitor go home, time of day, go home, and then completed the booking online, for example, on desktop. All those kind of things you can find out. And it sounds a little bit kind of overwhelming sometimes. Not saying you should do all that if you're not doing it tomorrow, but step by step, start thinking about those things. So prioritizing of content, certainly with mobile responsiveness. What elements should you have on what part of the page? So doing research in that is absolutely critical. Attention spans are shorter, and likelihood of interruption is higher on the go. It's lots of snacking, as we call it, snacking, mobile, basically consuming mobile on the go. So at the bus stop, they might be in London on a rainy day. Not now, but it might be in Christchurch on a rainy. But it might be in London on a rainy day, thinking about going to New Zealand. So they just go searching around. So it's those kind of ideas. So making it easy to find that information. Website flow needs to be smooth and intuitive, and it's really hard to kind of click through on a mobile. It still is. It is a small screen, and it is a lot of certainly people with fat fingers. It is not that user friendly. Yeah. So good usability and clarity is key on a smaller device. So just wanted to share another insight, which is what we call like the triangle of customer insights. It's what we use when we do research into usability. So I'll go into a little bit of detail. So it basically comes down to these 3 points, and these 3 doing that work feeds into any optimization work. I will talk about A/B split testing as well. So on the top we've got clicks. That's all your kind of Google Analytics, your heat maps, Is anyone doing heat maps on the website? Yeah, see some nods, very good. So obviously kind of seeing where people click on and how far they scroll down the page. Scroll maps. Feedback on the bottom right. That can be as simple as kind of visitor surveys, for example. There's sometimes annoying little pop-ups that say, hey, did you find what you're looking for on this page? They do work, you know. Yes, might be that 1 in 100 completes them, but it's an insight. And normally if you do them properly, they're not that intrusive. Observation, and that really is kind of like normally traditional user testing, but also there's some other ways of doing that as well. I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. So heat maps. Heat maps really kind of create insights to generate ideas, just ideas of improvements around usability and A/B split testing. So this is a Spaceship's website. We do a lot of work with them on their website, lots of A/B split testing. This is an example of the heat map. So we recently did a really big test around putting that form into place. We also do work with Air New Zealand, and we kind of stole it. No, that's not right. Borrowed the idea to have a booking form on the top left that also it on a mobile device. I'll show you the next one as well. Like really scales down really nicely, and making it easy to book. And did a lot of other work, but we really noticed that if you look at that heat map, nobody except for vehicles, nobody's interacting with any other part of the website. Video tour, little bit. Instant quote on the top right, no clicks, right? So it's all about that form. It's about getting that quick quote. Now, if you look at that on tablet, very similar, and mobile on the right there as well. So kind of getting that insight, and we're now developing another test at the moment that's just like a big image, and we're doing image testing as well. Big image with just the booking, and then we're simplifying the booking process as well, getting people into that funnel. Once they're in there, most people will actually complete it as well. So heat maps. Usability, so the observation, how easy and intuitive are the features on your website to use? And that's kind of qualitative. So there's different ways of doing it. Can obviously be on your full website, so you can literally take people in a controlled environment around your whole website and record it. So there's that one, face-to-face participants. We do a lot of that work, where you can do this yourself as well. Like you don't have to work with any, somebody externally. You can literally take people, even if it's people that you know, to your website, record and have them speak out loud how they're experiencing the website. And you give them certain tasks. So you say, ideally you do that with somebody in your target audience. But give them a certain task and say, okay, I want you to look for a 2 nights accommodation in August in, say, Auckland. Go. And then you record it, and you want them to speak through that process. And they go, okay, what are you doing next? Well, so what are you thinking? Okay, I'm actually thinking about finding this. I can't find this. So you note all those things down. And you want to do that at least with 6 to 8 people. You don't have to do it with 100. It's not necessary. Normally, if you do it with 6 people, you get 80% of the insights. And with 8 people, normally like 90% of the insights. So really kind of doing that work will give you some really good ideas, and then ideally you put those to the tests. Or done online. So you can use sites. Has anyone used usertesting.com? So usertesting.com is so one hand go up. So usertesting.com is it's US based. So yes, you will get mainly people from the US, but you can give them a certain age, for example, male, female, certain profession. You can give them, be quite specific, and they'll run a certain task and a certain page or your whole website through usertesting.com. And you'll have people being recorded going through your website. From memory, it's about $100 per person or something, or even less. I think it's less. It's $25 per person. So you can do that. And if you want, for example, you're thinking about a certain idea, you got it up on your website or a certain landing page before you roll out the campaign, take it to usertesting.com and just kind of get some quick insights. It's just really helpful and just can save you a lot of money on the long term, or generate more money, ideally, obviously, long term. So it just offers excellent insight, the way the visitors flow through the website and perceive your kind of value proposition as such. So some use testing tools, Hotjar, that's what we use a lot, and Inspect, that's very similar. They do things like heat maps, but also recordings. So they literally record people going through your website, and you can play them back. It's like little videos. It's about $100 a month. If you got that budget, well worth the investment. And you can literally see, you can also go back through the recordings and say, I want to see people that went from that page to that page. Show me all the videos of all the people that did that, and you can see where they're struggling. They're not speaking, obviously it's not user testing, but it's live users. Because so I don't know if anyone's heard about the Hawthorne effect, but with user testing you always have a little bit of that. People in a controlled environment, they always behave differently than in uncontrolled. If somebody needs to take out the credit card and make a booking, that's real people. So they're not recording any credit card details, by the way. Just want to make sure that that's good. But Formissimo is a great one if you if you have forms. It shows you exactly where people drop off on a form, which step. Create some really great graphics as well if you want to do presentations. And then Crazy Egg. Crazy Egg is probably the most well-known heat map and scroll map tool, and that's very cost-effective. It's starts at about $10 a month. So if you don't do any of the other stuff, definitely look at Crazy Egg. So use surveys. They're relatively easy to run as well. So just asking visitors for a few questions about the website, just a short survey. You sometimes see them, like little pop-ups, as I mentioned. If your data shows a certain drop-off point, you can put a little survey there. So it's just kind of getting some insights. And offers an excellent additional way to gather qualitative and quantitative, because you can run it with a lot of people that are actually visiting and experiencing the website. So use a survey. SurveyMonkey, for example, you can use that for that. So definitely key to create the right set and the number of questions. You don't want to do more than 2 or 3 questions, ideally, unless you're doing like a full-blown survey to your clients, which you probably also should do every once in a while. But yeah. So that set on more the user side of things, usability. Now we're looking into some testing. So testing is all about no more arguments about what is right or who is right. Now, has anyone heard about Hippo, the highest paid person in the? Yeah, always kind of the founder, or normally that person is always right, but it's not always the case. I'll bet you most often it's not the case. So testing allows you to really do like no more right way or wrong way. And each element on your site, improving each element, will have a significant difference. It will make a really big difference. So it can be, for example, creating more clarity. Conversion can go up by 15%. A stronger value proposition, 10%. If you've got better shopping cart booking process, 12%. Better navigation, 10%, and so on. I can keep going on, but etc. Also want to really look into, it's all about incremental improvements. And I've got one example in there about like a really like whiz-bang test that doubled conversion rate. But normally it is a lot about making small changes that in the end, if you add those all up, yes, you can definitely double the income you're making from your website currently by just improving it. Not sending more traffic to it, just improving the existing experience. So some testing tools. Plenty of testing tools out there. Even Google Analytics has content experiments built in as well, which is free to use. We mainly work with Optimizely, as I mentioned, and VWO, Visual Website Optimizer. Really easy to implement and use. So you can literally put a little snippet, similar to Google Analytics, in the header tag, and then create any test, any A/B split test that you want on your website. And I'll show you how that kind of works. The easiest way is doing a simple, what we call A/B split test. So you have like landing page, or you can do it with emails as well. Landing page A, which is what we call control, or the original. And then you create a variation to that control, whether it's like this example, it's like one variation, but you can do 1, 2, 3, ideally not more than 3 or 4 variations of that control. Then, and I'll show you some examples later on. Then you send 50% of traffic through that testing tool to the control, 50% to the variation, and you literally see what converts best. Now you can do that with a landing page. We can do it with a whole funnel as well. So, for example, we're running a test on the Stray website at the moment, which is 3 pages in the funnel. it is a funnel test. So literally the funnel is completely different, and we'll look at, does that funnel convert better than the existing one? Yes, and so you use tools like Optimizely for that. Multivariate is quite a little bit different. So basically that comes down to having different elements on your website that you want to test at the same time. Now, for example, you have box 1, might be like a header on your website, and you say, oh, let's create 2 variations to that, and then box 2, 2 variations to that, and box 3, 2 variations to that. You'd literally have 3 times 3 times 3 is 27 different combinations. That immediately shows you the challenge with a lot of the multivariate tests that we're running in New Zealand. Don't have enough traffic to go through 27 different variations. So often we just do simple A/B split testing. Okay, so this is an example. Has anyone heard of WhichTest1? WhichTest1.com. It's a really good website. It's all about intuition. So there's no data behind this. Yes, there is when they put the test together. But I just wanted to show you some examples. So this is from WhichTest1. Which button's call to action increased form fills by 25%? So literally the only thing that changed here, this is not our example, but it's from the website, is download paper on the left, and they changed, or they did get my free paper. So which one had a 25% increase in form fields? Who thinks A? 1, 2 people? Who thinks B? Yeah, oh, good. It's B. Definitely. That will get a little bit harder. Okay, I'll have to go through them pretty quickly. 5 of them. So this one is the second one, which increased sales. We always talk about trust and credibility. So the one on the left here, it says, we ship everywhere in the world, order online or call, phone number. It's a US-based test. Or the one on the right, it's got more information and credit card logos and all the trust logos. Which one converted best? Who thinks A? It's a gut feeling, right? There's nothing right, wrong. Who thinks B? About 50-50. So that was A. So basically that comes down to, and it has an 11.64% increase at a 98% confidence level. So that kind of comes down to that, removing clutter. Love those tests. This is a carousel or a slider test. If you have a slider on your website, I'll really urge you to test it against a static image. You'll be amazed by the results you'll get from that. I probably kind of spoiled the whole test. Okay. Okay. Well, we've done a lot of these tests as well, like removing the slider and then doing it with like a really good static image. So yes, that is B, 17.5% increase. I'll actually show you an example of that as well. Okay. So some 7 tips. I want to go through this really quickly because I've got some case studies I definitely want to show you as well. Top 7 tips on how to run an effective testing campaign. First one, accept that not every test will be a winner. This is sometimes really difficult for people because we don't like losing. It's not losing. It's if you think it, that's how we sell it to clients. It's a learning experience. So, but yeah, it's not just about constantly finding the winning test. If you do like say 10 tests, normally 6 will be winners, 1 will be a really big winner, and 3 will be losers. And then you're doing really well. So that's kind of what you want to strive for. Give it time. So it's definitely not a short-term fix. Normally you can't just do one thing, same as on you. You don't just change one thing on the usability and then just accept that everything will, expect everything will go up from there. It just takes time. You just have to keep working at it. But it definitely pays off the long term. Also, don't test for the sake of testing. Really think about it. Use your data, use your analytics, use the different insights you can get before you actually start testing. Don't just do it because you can do it. This is an important one as well, like optimize for revenue, not just conversion rate. Yeah, conversion rate is important, but in the end, it's about revenue. The more money you make, the better it obviously is. And if you see, look at that at e-commerce or say booking a trip, for example, a hotel room, you can increase your conversion rate. But if the average sale value or the dollar value of the transaction goes down, you still make less money. So it's always about that yin-yang combination of those things. So optimize for revenue. Make sure that makes more money online. definitely link the testing tool to Google Analytics. So we can see here as well on that screenshot, Optimizely feeds into Google Analytics, and we can see exactly who from what variation did what, where they came from, how long they stayed, is there a difference? So we just get more advanced insights and analytics from that. You want big results, you need to make big changes. So straight test, for example, here on the left, just want to change something completely different. If you want to have big impact, you have to do something that's really big. Sometimes a little bit risky. This one worked out well, but you have to take certain risk because you can always turn it off. It's not a fixed design. It's a design made in Optimizely. Yeah, so you can literally test these designs before making them live on the website. Happy to talk to you more about that during the break, how that actually works, but I don't have enough time to go through that in detail. Have fun with testing, very important. It's not all just serious about data, and we talk a lot about data, or data, I think I should say. Have fun with it, We often do a little bit of betting as well with clients, say have different, like we just did with the examples, variation A and B and say C, and then literally if people go around the office and say, well, which one do you think will win? And then put something at stake. Don't make it too serious again. But this is like an interesting one as well. It's a mega image background. So we do a lot of these type of tests because that's the one on the left is quite a modern type of design versus more traditional on the right. Not clean, 100% clean test, but it's pretty similar, but completely radical redesign here on the left. So who thinks version A, which converted 80% more visitors to leads? Who thinks A? Yep. Who thinks B? Couple of hands? Yeah, so definitely A. Yeah. Yeah, 18%. That clean design with like big images. And that's why it's important to kind of keep working on it, because design always changes. It keeps evolving. It's like anything, like clothing. If you wear, I don't know, if you look at the 1800s, we're not wearing wigs anymore, we're not wearing ties anymore. Only a couple of people wear ties now. So there's always design changes coming through. So keep working on it. A website is never ever something that is static. It's a business. You need to keep working on it. Okay, some case studies. Spaceships, image tests. This is one of the tests we run. So on the left is the control, the one on the right, the winning variation. I think that the learning from this test is features versus benefits. So the one obviously on the left very focused on feature, which is the vehicle. And the one on the right is, okay, what does a vehicle allow me to do? Which is going to the Milford Sound in this case. And that won which test won award actually, that test, which is just really simple, image test. But it significant, increased the sales by 8.5%, just the image. So case study from immigration, New Zealand. So we do, they don't sell it, or they do sell, they sell New Zealand to people like myself. And obviously I bought it, so it's working. Case study, immigration New Zealand. So the one on the left is a slider. The one on the right is variation 1, which is basically just removing the slider and just having a static image. Then the one on the left is slider, but more focusing on more explanation about what people can sign up for. And on the bottom right here is combination, so no slider and the additional information. Interesting with this one is that you clearly, and then you run quite a lot of traffic through this, but if you see, what you can see here is the trends with two different combinations. So interesting there is like the bottom two are the ones without the information block. The top two are with the information. The bottom one of each two is the slider, and the top one of each two is without the slider. So if you look at the percentages, 5% difference, and it's also exactly a 5% difference with the second one as well. So that slider, removing that, focusing on that one image, increased the conversion rate by another 5%. Obviously, the information block had the biggest impact, but 5% increase is still very healthy. So they overall had a 41% increase, 0.2% increase in completed registrations. That's a Lotto example. Okay. Next time, I'll need to sort out my slides better. So that's the case study. So very simple test, but call to action. As I mentioned in the beginning, want to make sure that people really held by the hand and make sure that they do know what they need to do next. So after reading that hero banner, we want them to play now. Also found that on the top right, or the bottom left, or the bottom right, sorry, it has latest major prize winners. Nobody is interested in that because we don't want to know who won a prize. We want to win a prize ourselves, right? So we just put an explanation box in there and then the play now button. So just again, that's a very simple test and increased sales by 16.8%. Okay, vehicle detail page. This is a really kind of an interesting one. This was kind of a very complex test. Took quite a while to set up. Again, this is all set up in Optimizely. With the one on the left, that's the original, and on the one on the right, we did a lot of different elements. So we added that element on the top right, so made it really easy for people to switch between different vehicles, so they didn't have to go back. Again, this is not done on the live side, all in Optimizely. The vehicle on the right, we made the image bigger, simple thing, but then we added the tick boxes and also the tagline on the bottom as well. So not just Rocket 2, but Rocket 2 is easy to drive, simple to use, and very reliable. It had a 101.3% increase in bookings. So that's kind of doubled. That was very significant. But please note that we've been working with them for the last 2 years, so it wasn't just kind of a fly-by-night thing, but that was a very, very good result. I think that's one of the last ones I wanted to leave you with. I've got 2 minutes left anyway, but this one an interesting one as well, like just a tagline. Life is short, just drive, or drive 5 supercars to US Supercar Tour. Which one has a higher, better result? Which one led to more bookings? A or B? Who thinks A? A, who thinks B? Okay, so I think it's about 50-50 again. So that's A. 34% more visitors to fill out and submit the lead generation form. Just with that. And that kind of comes down to, and that's what definitely something you need to do in your own testing, is that focusing on the benefit, not the feature. Now it sounds techy, like life is short, just drive, but right target audience, that message is bang on. Okay, just want to leave you with some key takeouts. Zero can make a big impact on your bottom line. Just get started. So conversion rate optimization and usability, big impact on the bottom line. Just start doing some of it. Pick what's right for you. Also, obviously, look at what you've got time for right now. Your site needs traction to be effective. Trust, relevance, appeal, and clarity. And ensure driving traffic works seamlessly with converting. Driving traffic and make sure it converts. If you can do that, you'll grow your business very healthily. Gain insights and ideas for testing from clicks, observations, and feedback at the same time. Have fun with testing. Each test gives you a learning. It's not just about winning tests, it's about getting learnings and implementing those. Often a losing test, doing a reverse test, and looking at what that effect has, often has a positive effect, which is kind of interesting. Test across different platforms and devices. Look at that, the user experience on both desktop, tablet, and mobile. And last one, it's a journey of incremental improvements. And really make it like a long-term commitment. Keep working on it. Even if you do like something once a month, just keep doing something. And it will have a very positive effect.